right, Symbaroum. Let's do it. Let's dive in. All right, so the I almost said the lighthouse. It was a mill, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a mill with like a broken roof or something.
Right. All right. So last week, you guys defeated Keller, recovered the sunstone, which, as you recall, is necessary for fighting off the cold, keeping the camp warm in case of bad weather, which is likely to happen, given that you guys have joined a caravan traveling in the middle of the winter through the mountains. So yeah, we'll fast forward to. I'm assuming you guys just gonna head back to camp afterwards, right? Unless you were gonna camp out in the mill for some reason.
I think we'll probably just head back since we achieved our goal.
Yeah.
All right.
It's we don't know this place to go out for mushrooms or whatever.
So upon returning to the caravan, you can see all of its members are eagerly and nervously waiting your return. Argasto has everybody ready to move again. What direction they're going to move in has not been decided yet, but everyone is prepared. Upon seeing you walking back, a lot of people's eyes light up. Argasto steps in front of the caravan and he simply says, "The Sunstone?"
Yep, here it is.
He screams, "Magnificent! Magnificent work! You've saved this entire caravan." And you can see on his face that he was under a great deal of stress before you returned. As we surely would have had to return. And he calls for the wizard, Bartolom. He says, "Bartolom, take the Sunstone. This time don't let it ever leave your sight." Bartolom is embarrassed, but you can see he's also grateful as he walks up to you. Says, Bartolom, under his little wizard hat pulled down, kind of covering his face, says, I can't thank you enough. If I had lost the Sunstone, I don't know when the next opportunity to travel north would have been. You didn't just save the caravan. You really saved my reputation. I'm supposed to be personally returning this to the wizards up north. I can't imagine the kind of questions I would have had to have answered.
You should know we may have recovered it, but we're not out of the woods yet.
Argasto speaks up. He says, yes. Were there bandits out there, or was Keller alone?"
Didn't he said that he was waiting for someone? Didn't he? Or he?
Yeah, there was some demon dude coming back.
He told you there was some undead bandit with his undead posse
undead.
coming, and he was going to get revenge on everybody. That's what Keller said.
So we might want to be on extra careful watch. This might not be the last time someone comes to steal the Sunstone.
And the guy can detect its location, right?
Yep, indeed.
Well, and also I don't know now. Does the entire caravan now know that the Sunstone is like an item that's in Bartolom's possession?
Yeah, pretty much everyone knows. Now the main core of the caravan that Argasto works with closely, they already knew of its existence, but now everyone pretty much knows now how important it is. Lestra the witch hunter, if you recall, speaks up. Says, "If there are bandits in these woods, I don't see any reason to stay here any longer and give them an opportunity for ambush. We should push forward as quickly as possible. If winter snows come, even with the Sunstone, we'll be forced to hunker down. We'd be an easy target."
Yep. Sounds wise.
Yep.
And
Ranger will catch Lester's eye,
okay.
and I assume unless anybody wants to do something, we just move along with the preparations to set off.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. I guess so. We'll start giving the orders for everyone to get in their wagons and start moving. You guys will probably. He was already prepared to move, so within 5 or 10 minutes, you guys are going to be off and traveling again.
So then Ranger lumbers next to Lester and says, Ranger is worried. Thief man said there is his boss is bad man. Dead guy. And dead guy smells the sunstone. Can you smell the dead guy if he comes near?
Lester says, "Don't worry. I've dealt with the undead before. Most of them it's obvious. But if it's not, he indicates his eye. I can see it. I can see the blight upon people. Don't worry. No one with the taint of undeath upon them will get anywhere near us, and if they do, I'm well versed in dealing with them."
Okay. Good.
All right. With that, you guys pack up. Begin traveling. There's a sort of a renewed sense of hope and excitement in the caravan after the despair that everyone might have to turn around and head south and wait till the following spring or summer to travel again. There's this surge of excitement knowing that your goal is coming nearer, and as you travel, lots of members of the caravan take it upon themselves to, at the very least, just send a word of thanks to you. You know, a pat on the back. Hey, good work out there. Several of them have promised you drinks when you get back. You'll probably be drinking for free for a month if they're all good on their word. That being said, spirits are very high. Argasto has spent a lot of time telling you about his travels and his journeys through the mountains. He's opened up to you all a bit. His stories are interesting, but the biggest value of it is you can tell by the way he's talking that you have really earned his trust. If you ever need to work with him again, you're definitely going to be involved in that little inner circle that he keeps. As you travel too, you might remember Telk, who is good friends with Keller. Telk has come under an awful lot of scrutiny, but he is the pack master of this trip, so he is valuable. Argasto seems convinced that Telk is innocent, that he wasn't in on any plan with Keller. There's some mixed opinions amongst that in the group. Telk has wisely kept to himself. He just doesn't say anything to anybody. You can tell he just wants the trip to be over and make his new life amongst people who are less suspicious of him.
Is he? Well, I mean, we're all just going in the caravan right now. Has Argasto? Is he kind of just letting him be, or certain people like kind of watching Telk to make sure he doesn't necessarily go off or do anything when people aren't noticing?
So Argasto is not watching him, and he has not asked anyone to watch him. He's content to leave him alone. That being said, there are members of the caravan that are keeping an eye on him because of mistrust. So again, Argasto's not asking anyone to watch him, but people are keeping an eye on him. And speaking of watching people, as you travel through the next day, everyone go ahead and make a. I always forget the skills in this game. Vigilance noticing things, right? Yeah. Everyone make a -3 vigilant check.
I also need to heal.
Oh, yeah, healing.
Yes.
Looks like nobody. Oh, I take that back. I spoke too soon.
Fenya.
Fenya. I didn't see you there. All right, so we're gonna fast forward this will be the next day of traveling. Those of you that are injured, you're gonna heal 1 toughness.
Yeah. I will also use my recovery, so I need to roll 1d4.
Okay.
Hopefully that is not going to be perfect. Okay.
All right. Is anybody else still injured? If so, Lestra will tend to you on the second day. Sounds like you're all good. All right, Fenya, one thing you notice is as you're traveling, there's many times where not everybody can ride in the wagons. There's a lot of times where you all have to get out, kind of clear the trail, or where the pack animals are having trouble getting through the snow. People get out and kind of walk alongside them. Whenever this happens, or whenever people stop to eat, you have noticed that Lestra watches everybody in the caravan. He has this perpetual look of suspicion on his face. He always looks like he's expecting someone to betray the group. You've noticed in particular, though, he's been paying a lot of attention to Bellin, one of the Pathfinders, to the point where Bellin has noticed. You can see Bellin actively avoiding Lestra and Lestra stalking him almost. He's never said anything to him. He's never said anything to you, but it seems, well, to be honest, it seems downright rude. But yeah, clearly it's making Bellin uncomfortable. Just something that's occurred to you.
I'll probably at some point I'll just kind of go to Argasto at some point and kind of chat with him and kind of say, so how long has Bellin been a part of your caravan group?
Bellin, Master Pathfinder, along with his good friend Ludo. We've made a few of these journeys together. It's been a little while, though. They spent a lot of time in Ambria. From what I hear, they made a small fortune taking expeditions into the forests of Devakar and back. Being the master pathfinders that they are, that doesn't surprise me. I'm not really sure why they decided to travel south again. I suspect they came under... I suspect they got into hot water with some local authorities and needed time to cool off. Knowing their personalities, that doesn't surprise me. They can be a tad roguish at times. But I was glad to have them. It was good to see them come back, and hopefully they decide to keep making these journeys with me. I've offered them a bonus if they do, and they seem open to it. To be honest, as dangerous as this trip is, it's nothing compared to the forests of Devakar.
And how well do you know the witch hunter that's hanging around?
This is my first journey with him. He well, between you and me, I appreciate the work that they do. And I mean that sincerely, but well, he creeps me out. I've heard stories of them overreacting. I've heard rumors of them accusing people falsely of the Blight. Not that Lestra would do that. Lestra seems like a fine member of the Twilight Friars, but I don't know. The witch hunters, they just make me uncomfortable.
Next, I'm gonna go up to Ludo and ask him about him and Bellin, and have they always been a partnership?
Yeah, Ludo says, "Oh yeah, me and Bellin, we go back. Oh hell, it's got to be going on 15 years now. Our first expeditions together. We've mastered our craft together. Expeditions always done together, caravans together. We haven't taken a job individually, and well, since we've met, To be honest, that's the way I like to keep it. It's rare these days to find someone you can truly trust to have your back, and I don't think I'd ever want to give that up.
So you trust Bellin implicitly.
Says, of course, and he kind of laughs. He says, "Oh, if you only knew the number of opportunities he had to betray me and steal some treasure. He's earned his trust. And I've had plenty of opportunities myself, but again, these days, someone you can trust, you don't give that up lightly."
I think Fenya's just going to kind of, after noticing it, just kind of hang around more, or try to kind of watch the witch hunter without semi-discreetly, or just try to kind of keep an eye out on what he's doing or what he's looking for.
Sure, yeah. And the witch hunter, as you sort of observe the witch hunter, he still kind of looks over everyone suspiciously, but you do notice him paying extra attention, like I said, to Bellin, to the point of almost stalking him. He also appears to pay a little extra attention to Ludo as well. You don't know if he senses something off about them. Maybe he has a history with them that you don't know about. You would almost expect him to be suspicious of Telk after everything that happened, but Bellin and Ludo, who have been solid pathfinders this entire trip. Yeah, and like I said, he hasn't. Lester hasn't announced any concerns to anybody or confronted them or anything. You're just aware he's keeping an extra close eye on them.
And when camp gets made at night, do people stay, or people set up tents and stay in tents, or do they just stay in the wagons? And do I know if Bellin and Ludo have share a tent or with anybody, or just have their own?
They share a wagon with a handful of the other travelers. There's like 5 or 6 people per wagon, and there's little like tents and awnings that get set up when the wagons are stopped. But people, for the most part, sleep inside of the wagons. And actually, that evening, you guys stop while there's still an hour or two of sunlight left. This is fairly standard, because what will happen an hour or two before bedtime is everyone in the caravan will go out, gather as much firewood as they can. It's too heavy to really carry around with you, and there's plenty of it here. So yeah, that's what's happening. Normally, you guys spread out all over the place and just bring back tons of firewood, but Argasto gathers everyone together in the caravan, and he says, "Listen, we know we might be being followed by bandits. If you don't feel up to going for firewood tonight, I will forgive you of that chore. However, those of you that wish to gather firewood, and I would hope it would be everyone, don't spread out too much. Stay in small groups and be within earshot of each other, just in case. And I'll keep a contingent of my own guards here to protect Barleton and myself. I can't imagine that the bandits are still following us. They would have had opportunities to strike yesterday, but just to be safe, don't venture too far into the forest. Get the best firewood you can, things that have already fallen from the tree, preferably, nice and dry, and we'll have a warm night."
Is there a way that while people are kind of milling about and moving away, is there a way to try to search to see like what Lester's does Lester like maybe have some like personal belongings, or does he keep everything on his person?
Yeah, he's got a few personal belongings.
Because basically what I'm thinking is I was gonna try to, while everyone's kind of distracted and going around looking for firewood, I was going to try to like maybe sneak in and snoop into both Lester's belongings and then Ludo and Bellin's if I can do it without anyone noticing me, just see if there's anything.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'll have you make a single roll for all of it. I'll have you just roll a straight up discreet because there's not going to be a ton of people looking out for things in camp.
Just no modifier.
No modifier, just discreet.
Nice.
All right, yeah. So Lestra goes out to collect firewood. So do Bellin and Ludo. They also go out. In fact, virtually everyone in the camp that hasn't been hand chosen as a guard is participating in gathering firewood. So when they first leave, you have that moment to look through their belongings. In Lestra's personal belongings, when he goes out, he's got his robes and his spear and all that. His personal belongings are they're rather sparse. He has a lot of scriptures, holy texts. He's got some maps of Ambria, locations of temples and monasteries. Doesn't look like anything secret or anything like that. But yeah, just lots of scriptures. Let's see here. Oh, Lestra had you can see in some of Lestra's personal belongings. He does have a couple of badges of office that he's left behind. He was definitely a commander or is a commander of the Templars, which are sort of the soldiers of the Twilight Friars. They go out and they search for blight-stricken and abominations and whatnot. Very, very zealous bunch, as you would imagine from some people that call themselves Templars. As for Ludo and Bellin, they've kept a couple of luxury food items to themselves. They've got a little bit of they've got some nice wine. They've got some nice ale that's not shared with the group. They've got some salted meats that are a little bit more exotic than what you guys are used to. Other than that, nothing strange. They don't keep any diaries or notes. In fact, for Lestra and Bellin, I mean, they might not even be literate. You don't know. But yeah, just some personal luxuries. Also, too, probably you can see some fresh berries amongst their things that theoretically must have been picked at some point while they were out in the forest, although you're not really sure if berries grow out here in the cold. But if so, they've definitely kept some to themselves. And to be clear, they're not like hoarding food or anything. They're just living a better lifestyle than everyone else,
Yeah.
and keeping that fact to themselves.
Yeah. So I'll probably just take note of that, and I'll probably to Rajor, I'll probably at some point just kind of say keep as a heads up, keep an eye on the witch hunter for yourself. There seems to be something suspicious possibly between him and the pathfinders, and something might end up breaking out, but just be aware.
Well, and then Roger will, of course, ask, "What did you find out? How did you come to that conclusion?"
Lester just seems to be keeping track of and watching specifically Bellin more than he's looking at anyone, but Bellin, he seems to be watching Bellin more, and Bellin seems to know, but there hasn't been any actual confrontation between them yet. And I couldn't find anything but just the fact that Lester seems to be a pretty high-ranking witch hunter, especially maybe to be in a small caravan like this. I mean, he seems to be some sort of, commander of certain others.
That is interesting. What
I just wanted to give you a heads up, since you're an ogre and I'm a goblin. If things turn bad, the witch hunter might come after us first if confusion ends up occurring.
Am I in for that?
Sure. I mean, yeah, sure. I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you guys as well, since we've kind of, we helped each other out, and we're not at odds. We know that you two can, you two don't hate us, I guess.
I'll step in then and say I'll make sure that doesn't happen.
I'm also actually going to turn to Father Ansel, and also towards Nino. We definitely see him. He also has some strange power, so probably he's going to be in there with all the strange bunch of people. Then I asked Father Ansel, you probably don't know these guys, but I was thinking that actually we might be a bit safe since we are not touched by any blight. But what worries me is that probably he might see something unsavory into those two that our power, we cannot see.
And actually, I'll also kind of mention to Father Ansel. I'll kind of say, and if there's anyone that's gonna get any information out of the witch hunter, it'd probably be you. He might trust you, since you're a religious man as well.
Is there anything in particular you would want me to ask him?
Well, I don't. Like Rager was saying, I don't know if we can't tell, since we don't have his eyes. We can't tell what blight he's seeing. Maybe you could just wonder to him if there was anything you as a spiritual man should be watching out for blight wise as well, or kind of get him to maybe I accept you, but doesn't, as long as nothing's really happened yet. I'm just with everything that's going on, we want to make sure this caravan gets through before we don't want to be held up.
All right, let me ask you guys this too. At this point, the caravan is mostly emptied out except for the hand-picked guards that Argasto has left behind. Do you want to hang out in the camp, or do you want to go out in the last hour or so of daylight and attempt to gather firewood with the rest of the travelers?
I'll probably go out and gather for the last hour after having snuck around.
Yeah, let's do that as a group.
All right. And yeah, that's what the rest of the caravanners have done. They've made small groups of like 4 or 5 people, and even all those groups are at least within earshot of each other as they spread out and gather as much as they can. So yeah, you're out in the woods, gathering firewood. You fortunately hit a bit of a treasure trove, a tree that looks like at some point it was struck by lightning or something. So there's lots of dried, broken branches on the ground. You managed to find some choice firewood. Treasure means different things to different people, and out here that is definitely treasure. As you guys are getting it all bundled up, probably giving the lion's share to the ogre to carry, to be honest. Yes, suddenly you hear a scream of terror from within the forest. a couple of screams of terror. You are certain it is the voices of Bellin and Ludo screaming out, asking for help. You also hear the deep, bass-filled roar of some unknown beast in the distance. You are you feel very afraid for Bellin and Ludo at that moment.
I'll just turn. Should we investigate? If we lose our pathfinders, that might not be too good for the whole of the caravan.
At about that time, Rager interrupts you with his own roar, and he charges towards that direction.
All right.
I'll fall behind.
As you guys are running through the woods, you're comforted a little bit that Bellin and Ludo are still screaming out in terror. It's unsettling, but they must still be alive to be screaming for help. Also, because the caravan members were searching in such a tight area, you can hear shouts and commands of other groups of people who are gathering firewood. They seem like they are also coming to help, so you won't be alone when you get there. When you do arrive, you see the following scene. Let me drag your characters out on the map here. It's going to be in front because he was charging.
Yep.
All right, so these guys I gave little auras just so they stand out because they're so small.
We don't see if you get the auras. At least I don't see it.
Oops, did I drag you to the map?
Yeah, but maybe the aura is in a different layer.
I don't see any auras.
Oh, you know what? It's so dumb that you have to specifically click that option. Like, why would I put an aura on someone just for myself? All right. Well, whatever. You can see the little wolf things without them, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's good enough. I'm too lazy to click one at a time. And all right, yes. All right, and I apologize for this cartoony looking wolf that I found in the middle there, but that's what I found. Anyways, when you arrive, Bellin and Ludo are here where these X's are marked. You can tell they're covered in sweat. They've been running full retreat. Luckily, behind them there is a wave of about a dozen caravan members that are all arriving at the same time. Bellin and Ludo are desperately trying to reach them, and luckily everyone is armed, especially knowing that there were bandits in the area. You see, does anybody have amongst you have beast lore?
No.
The wizard.
All right. None of you have beast lore. All right, I tell you what then. You won't really know anything about these creatures, but I'll let you each make a cunning check, just straight up, just to see if you can identify what they are.
Well, I've been rolling well tonight.
All right. This is apparently nothing new to this group. So these smaller creatures are Jakar. They are a canine-like beast. They're sort of they're very much wolf-like. They're kind of a mix between wolves and jackals, and they tend to hunt in packs. But what really draws your attention is the hunger wolf. A hunger wolf is a wolf that has grown to unbelievable proportions. They have abnormally long legs. They're many times the size of a normal wolf. They tend to be. Actually, I take that back. You probably don't know what I was about to say. You don't know much about them. They're large wolves. But yeah, as you approached, the lot of them were clearly chasing Bellin and Ludo. You can see Bellin and Ludo. They have some. You can see some blood on them on their arms. It looks like the smaller Jakar maybe ambushed them first, and they fought their way free. the giant wolf, seeing you approach from behind, it does let out a hideous roar in your direction, as if to make you rethink intervening on what is about to happen. But here's what I will do. I'm going to have you guys... We're going to jump straight into a battle here, so I'm going to throw you on the initiative track. Alright, so as before, I'm going to have you add... You're going to put in your quickness and then a decimal point. You're going to put in your... what was the tiebreaker? Was it vigilant? Or resolute?
Quick. Should be quick.
Well, there's quick, but then if quick is tied, there was another.
I think it was
Quick and vigilant, or what was it?
Okay, we're gonna say quick and vigilant for now. I forget, but so go ahead and put your quickness in, and then in decimal point, use a 2-digit number for your vigilant. So if your vigilant is 5, put 05, and that way we'll easily be able to break ties when I set this up. Let me just go ahead and put in the big wolf guy here. How quick is this wolf?
For some reason, I type it in, but what's going on there? It's 11:11 for me.
For Ragnar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went ahead and put it in there for you.
Me and the wolf have the same quick and vigilant.
Quick and vigilant. So here's what we do. We just roll a d20. Whoever rolls higher is going to go ahead and get the better one. It's looking pretty good for Fenya right now. All right, I'll go ahead and I'm going to change Fenya to 1.11 there, just to make you go ahead of the wolf. And let's see, these Jakar, they are... Oh no, they're pretty quick too. And they're quite vigilant, but I'm just gonna make them less vigilant. And whoops, I put that in the wrong order. All right, so Fenya, you have the first action.
Is there a certain amount of squares we can move, or
10 or you can move. I believe it is 5 spaces on 2 meter map at a time.
Don't forget the pig.
Yeah.
I think the pig's on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to walk up, kind of next to Rajor and brace myself with my spear for incoming the charging beasts.
All right. Yeah, the beast will indeed charge, targeting the small goblin.
Okay.
As the beast charges in, you have a long weapon, right?
Yeah, and I have polearm mastery, so I get a free attack against those who enter into my range.
All right. The defensive rating of this creature is -5.
Okay. So I just roll -5.
Yep.
Right.
All right. Yeah, you thrust with your spear, but the creature with an almost supernatural speed manages to sidestep it and get into your defense before attempting a really nasty bite on your now vulnerable body. You're gonna go ahead and roll whatever your defensive stat is. Normally quick. It might be different for you, but it's straight up, no bonus, no penalty for your defense.
Nice.
All right, yeah, you managed to dodge what looks like would have been a very, very nasty bite as Saliva sprinkles your face from the mist. The thing is foaming at the mouth. Next, the Jackars ignore you and what you assume to be their pack leader completely. And I'm just gonna move them over here, just for sake of convenience right now. All right, yeah. The Jackars they run and dive towards Bellin and Ludo. At this point, the rest of the caravan is more or less there, and a huge melee of caravan members and these Jackars has broken out. Bellin and Ludo are also sort of defending themselves, although they are injured. What was that, Zeus? Did you say?
He said he'll be right back.
Oh, he'll be right back. Okay. I thought he said I am back. I was like, oh Christ, how long have you been gone? Matt will do that to me sometimes, just fucking around. I'll give like a long monologue. He'll be like, all right, I'm back. All right. Well, in that case, it's pig time, baby.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have her walk up and attack the wolf, since Fenny is engaged with the wolf.
All right, -5 it is.
Lame. All right.
All right, the day of the ogre has come.
So, I want to get behind this thing.
Absolutely. So moving past a creature for purposes of flanking will draw an attack of opportunity, or free attack, whatever they call it in this. So yeah, as you circle around behind it, it takes a mighty snap at your Achilles tendon there. Go ahead and make a defense roll, no modifier.
So, basically he is raging. That his quickness is 5, and he is robust, which means that I have to roll 2 or lower, just so you know.
Yeah, that's a 10% chance. All right.
So that's what we have.
You have been struck for 4 damage. However, solid armor. That extra D4 is for being robust, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you take it like a champion. You are uninjured.
And then I try to slam the peacemaker, which is a big log, on it.
Right.
So -3 because I have advantage.
Correct. -3 because you have advantage. Oh, and if you hit, you would have done another D4 damage. That is.
We tried.
Well, at least now we have him in a position where he's gonna be flanked by someone, at least at all times.
Yep.
We have him right where he wants us to be.
All right. Next, it is Nino.
Yo.
If you are back.
All right, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I'm gonna move up. I'm going to Stella.
All right.
You said it's
Go ahead and say
-4.
it. Now here's how flanking in this system works. So a pair of people can flank someone. I'm gonna say just based on position, Fenya and Ragior, how do you say it? They're gonna get the flanking bonus. If Nino wanted to flank as well, a 4th person would have to go up. There. Normally 4 is the most that can engage a single target. However, this is a larger beast, so a few more can get up there. But my point is, you don't get the flanking bonus because this is how it works in this system. -5 to attack.
All right.
All right, Father Ansel. A huge monstrous wolf is dancing around with your companions in front of you.
All right. What is the corruption from powers? Is it a D4?
If you're a novice with the particular type of magic, yeah, it's a D4 corruption when you use the power. Goes away at the end of the scene.
So I can never use my power more than once per scene, and I can't hit my threshold. Is there a reason to track it even? Like, will it matter for fights?
You should track it. It's possible I'm not saying it'll happen here, but there's possible other sources of corruption can come up during a scene, so you should track it just in case.
All right. Well, I assume I already had my hammer pulled out, but I'm going to say Prios, grant me strength, and I'm going to use my thing to bless my hammer. And then I'm going to use an action to nominate the big guy to take an extra D4 damage from all of our attacks.
All right.
And then I'm going to move over. Let's see, does it diagonally count as like 1.5, or how does that work?
You can just count them one at a time. This game doesn't technically use a grid. I'm just using it for visual aid. You can move 10 meters. So yeah, like that's a little further than 10 meters, but I'm fine with that. You can move there to get into flanking position. I assume that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for moving to his flank, he'll get a free attack on you. Go ahead and make a defensive check as the thing nips at you. And your shiny hammer. You have the shiny hammer, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh.
Heyo. All right. You have been critically hit by the wolf. You all watch as Father Ansel watches by the wolf to get a huge chunk of his abdomen torn out as he's running by. He actually gets caught on the wolf's upper jaw, snapping its head back, causing even more damage with his own momentum. Long story short, 6 points of damage.
Oh, that's my pain threshold.
Correction. 7 points of damage.
Oh, I negated 1. The
All
worst
right.
possible result. I'm unconscious.
Oh, you've run out of toughness?
No, I hit my pain threshold.
You hit your pain threshold. All right. Let me just look something up about that really quick. I don't think you automatically pass out when you hit your pain threshold.
No, you either take a second attack or you fall prone.
Yeah, so your opponent gets to choose one of two things. You don't actually pass out. There's alive and kicking or dying quickly are the two states of being in this game. So let's see. Just double checking here. Oh, this is random. Does armor degrade in this system or no?
No,
I don't know. No, okay. I don't think it does. I've played so many systems recently where it does. I've gotten confused. Too many game systems in one brain.
You have some powers and abilities that negate armor at all.
Okay. Oh, okay. Interesting thing. It doesn't matter if you are receiving the damage or giving the damage when the pain threshold is hit. The player always chooses. So
I'll go prone.
You can be knocked prone. Yeah. Oh, you already looked it up. Yeah. Or a free attack is rough. Yeah. All right. Okay, Fenya, you still have the flanking bonus from Rhaegor. So if you choose to attack now, it's only a -2 penalty, and you're going to add a D4 damage if you hit.
All right, I'll
Okay.
swing.
Also, too, when you guys score hits, feel free to elaborate and describe the action. I was too exhausted last session to really enforce that at all, but I'm all energied up now, so. Of course, if you whiff, it could just be a whiff.
Yeah, I'm just trying to poke. I'm a little guy just trying to poke my spear up.
All right, the wolf, seeing a clear opportunity with a target on the ground, is going to attempt to coup de grace Father Ansel, take him out of the fight. Father Ansel, you're going to make a defense roll, -3 because the beast has advantage on you while you're laying on the ground. All right, it's going to do 6 total damage.
Like, after armor? Or...
No, 6 damage minus whatever you rolled for armor. So that was what I say. I said 6 total because I was adding up the flanking bonus in my brain, so that was really more for me than you. 6 damage.
Why does he get a flanking bonus?
He doesn't have a flanking bonus, he has advantage. It's the same thing as flanking, yeah, with you being on the ground. So for an NPC, advantage means +2 damage. But, alright. 3 damage as he is, I imagine Father Ansel on the ground with his arm up, you know, like when you're fending off a dog. Getting wrenched back and forth. A little ways off, the jackers and the caravan still fight each other. You guys are far too focused and invested on the madness that's happening before you to really be able to pay attention to what's going on in the other fight. You have more pressing issues. That being said, I think it's time for the Wonder Pig.
All right, let's see what she can do. And it's is she getting flanking right now?
She will not. Like the way the system works, it's got to be done in pairs. So yeah, she'll have the -5 attack.
-5.
Yep.
Nice.
I believe the pig.
Wow.
I believe the
Good
pig.
damage.
The pig has drawn first blood, and
Well, wait. Do I add another D1d4 because of the spell or whatever that Father Ansel did?
Forgot all about that. Indeed, you do. Is that for the rest of the battle there, Matt?
The entire scene.
The entire scene? Yeah. I forgot all about that.
Yep, until I change targets.
Nice.
We all wanted to see the pig roll max damage.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. All right.
All of a sudden, she's just
10
digging into
damage. 10 damage minus its armor is going to be well, I don't want to tell you what its armor is, but let's just say its pain threshold is hit. So the pig can either knock it prone or immediately get a free attack on it.
I would say that you can't. If you're knocked prone, do you have to make an action before you can attack again, or could the wolf attack while it's on the ground?
So it would have to stand up before it could attack. I believe standing up is a it's a quick action, so it could stand up and fight. The only reason you would knock it down is if you didn't have flanking on it, you'd get advantage on it, but you already have advantage.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just
free attack is basically the way to go.
Swing another free attack.
Finish it.
Oh, that would have been outstanding. All right. I want you to describe to us what it looks like for a small pig to do 10 damage to a giant wolf.
Probably she just rams up and digs her tusks into his near his neck, kind of under his scruff. And I don't know. Pigs can get pretty nasty. I'm assuming there's some biting and just trying to take chunks of flesh out.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna add a little spray of blood to represent its neck being sliced under the characters there as it sprays everybody.
And now the pig has gotten the taste for wolf blood.
All right, it's the ogre. The beast has been staggered badly by the pig. It's your chance to finish it.
So there is. I'm not sure if you would like to add this, but in the Advanced Player's Guide there is some additional rules for combat, and you can go in full offensive there, which basically gives a chance the player to roll twice on attacks, and I need to roll again twice on defenses, vice versa. So
I'm gonna hold off on the advanced combat for now, just until we get to the second session. I want to just keep it as basic as possible.
Okay,
for
sure.
for this initial adventure.
Then I try to whack it again.
All right, whack away.
So, that's -3.
Yeah, you're right. -3, and ooh.
That's the same roll as last time, isn't it?
All right. Nino, it is on you. I believe Father Ansel is still on the ground, so you don't have the flank right now, but you can still attack it at a -5.
Oh, nice.
That's how you do it.
All right.
Oh, and you also don't. Doesn't you roll an extra 1d4 because of Ansel?
Yeah.
What?
Always, yeah, because Father Ansel did his little declare a target. That's another D4 damage. All right. That 1 damage made the difference between the wolf trying to escape and the wolf dying.
Nice.
All right. The wolf collapses, exhausted, probably bled out. Let's go of a little huff on the ground. At this point, the caravan have fairly easily dispatched these smaller beasts. You stand there before you can really get a chance to enjoy your victory. The wolf's body starts to sort of shift and change. You get ready to strike again as though it's about to get back up. But in a moment you realize something else is happening. At first it looks like it's dissolving away into the earth before your eyes, as if it's not made of anything. But when the wolf flesh is done dissolving and shriveling, laying before your feet is the severely battered, lifeless body of a female elf dressed in a simple wool coat, carrying no weapon. She has an arm bracelet made of rusted iron on her left upper arm, and a small pouch on her belt, which has 6 shillings in it. If someone wants to grab that, but
if no one beats me to it, I'll try to snatch it up quickly.
Yeah, sure. You can grab the 6 shillings. If anyone has a problem with it, they can talk to you later about it.
Kavrula's the one who deserves the shillings.
That was epic. The pig of legend.
I'll feed her a great meal with this.
Well deserved.
At this point, many of the other caravan members are standing around. Lestra has arrived. Unfortunately, didn't get there in time to participate in the battle, but everyone stares kind of dumbfounded at the sight of this elf on the ground. Everyone's just curious and confused, especially to see an elf is never really a good thing. But this far south, this far outside of Davicor, there's really no reason the elves would ever be in the Titans. Yeah, I'll go ahead and everyone go ahead and make a straight up vigilant check as you're standing around with the crowd.
Is she my mom?
Is she your mom? No, she is not. All right, those of you that made it, you can see Bellin and Ludo. They're not terribly badly injured. Their arms are a little messed up from fighting off the smaller canines. When they see the elf body, their look is not one of confusion. It's one of horror. They exchange some quick whispers amongst themselves and begin quickly walking back to camp.
Let's go talk to Bellin and Ludo. I get the feeling they might know more about this.
As soon as you start to walk towards them, they go, We have to hurry back. It's raining. It's raining. They put their arms out. They're like, we're gonna be soaked soon, and they just break into a full sprint towards the camp. You can see the rest of the caravan members are kind of looking up, but you don't feel any raindrops. In fact, it's not even that cloudy.
I'm just gonna say to Ansel, also just kind of relay again that what I learned from Argasto, that they've gone on travels into Davokar before, and it wouldn't, if they're so horrified by this elf, maybe they took something and someone's coming after them.
Yeah, Lestra staring off at the doesn't run after Bellin or Ludo, just staring at them running back at the camp. Lestra does sort of say, not to any of you, just sort of out loud, makes you wonder who or what the Hunger Wolf was out to get. As Lester watches Bellin and Ludo run from their lives. Yeah, at this point...
And is the iron wristband on the elf's body? Is there anything necessarily special about it, or is it just?
There are some markings on it. Do any of you have Lore Master? You guys don't recognize it. It looks like a piece of elven jewelry. It's old. It's rusted. And there's some markings on it, but it doesn't mean anything to you. The jewelry itself, too, as rusted iron, doesn't look particularly valuable.
General question: how far do the people of the forest, for example, the barbarians, since Rajor was with the witch there, does he know about the Iron Pact? Would he know just generally what they are?
Yeah, so yeah, he's been up in the forest a bit, hasn't he? Right?
Yeah, he basically yeah.
Yeah, and my character's technically from around like a goblin town, kind of around Thistlehold.
Yeah, I'll say that you guys are aware of the Iron Pact. You don't know great details about it. To be fair, most people don't anymore because the elves are the only ones keeping the treaty. Humans are locked in this treaty they didn't even know existed. But the Iron Pact is basically a long time ago. Some humans gave the elves permission to murder anybody that ventures too far into the forest or takes things they shouldn't in exchange for... You guys don't really know why. Keeping the forest quiet, protecting humanity. You do know, though, that the people that made that deal with the elves have long since gone extinct. The people of Ambria now have nothing to do with the pact, but the elves are holding them to it because they consider it with all... in fact, not just humans, really all peoples of the land. The elves are holding to it. So you do know that if you go too far, into, like in the northern forest, or take artifacts out, you do risk the chance of getting murdered by elves. And you might have heard stories of them tracking people. Certainly not this far south, but possible. That's why they're here.
So that's what definitely Jory explained to Father Ansel. I might assume that Nino, as a changeling, might have heard probably the same thing if he has inquired after the elves and his heritage.
Oh, Lestra at one point says, maybe we should bring the elf's body back to camp. But as soon as he says that, several other people in the caravan say, no, it's bad luck. It'll bring bad omens. We must leave it here. And Lestra sort of looks to your party and says, you brought down the elf. What do you think we should do with the body?
What do elves do with their dead? And I actually look at Nino for a bit, and then at Lester.
Now, you guys probably don't know what the elves do with their dead, unless you have Lore Master or have.
I was given up as a child,
Well, this is one of your people, so whatever you decide, I will support your decision.
I'm gonna ask Lester. What do you think we'll get from bringing the elf's body with us?
He just sort of shrugs. He says, probably nothing, but the monastery of the Twilight Friars, all of its members, we understand the value of research, experimentation. We like to collect evidence of the mysteries that we face.
So are you saying that you might reward us somehow for getting this body to the end destination of this caravan?
He cracks the first little like hint of a smile you've seen. He says, I will reward you with my gratitude.
And healing powers.
Yeah, I'm gonna look to the other party members and I'm not particularly partial, but if we take the body, it doesn't really bother me, and Kavrula can carry it around, or we can carry it around with the me and the mules.
It's fine by me.
All right. Yeah. You guys get the body. None of the other caravan members, who are very superstitious of it, will even touch it. And there's a lot of grumbling. A lot of people are upset that you're bringing it with you. They don't outright protest once you've made the decision, but you can hear them like grumbling about bad omens and bad luck. And we've made it this far. Why screw it up now, kind of thing.
Anyone that I hear say something, I'm gonna say, well, we got the Sunstone, so any luck you have is from us already.
All right, you've earned enough respect of the caravan too. They won't challenge you. In fact, they'll probably quiet the grumbles. They'll at least keep them out of your earshot. Any complaints that they have.
And I'll just again reassure caravan members that the dirty goblin mule herd will keep the body in my area to not taint them. At least not as much.
Right, yeah. So you guys pretty much return to camp. This time, instead of separate little parties, as one giant group of people. You can see Bellin and Ludo are back in the camp. Nobody seems alarmed or confused or disturbed. You realize Bellin and Ludo just haven't mentioned anything to anybody about what happened. They're just helping getting the wagons and the fires ready for the night, as if nothing has happened.
I want to keep a close eye on the elf.
All right, the elf.
I want to study it.
I say, so far the dead elf is doing what most dead elves do, but you never know.
Oh, did we kill it?
Yeah. When the wolf went down, it turned into the dead body of an elf.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Rager will tell you when this happens. My mistress used to turn into a big cat and also into a big bear. So for those who know the mystic arts and the ways of the witches, it's not unnatural to turn into a beast. I don't know for elves, but maybe that's natural for one of your kind. And you change as well. So think about that. But that aside, what worries me is that, nobody goes alone.
No, older guy. You're mixing us up. Not everyone changes. I'm a special breed.
Oh, well,
I'm quite literally built different.
I knew. Oh god, I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah. Well, the forest keeps its secrets. Tell me about it. And he stares for a moment to the north.
You guys would be aware that ogres in general don't know where they came from. They just showed up one
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. And Rager will add, and also for everybody's ears, what he's worried that if somebody goes so far away from home for a mission like this elf came, they're most likely not alone.
Yeah, I'm gonna before necessarily having confronting Bellin or Ludo, I'm gonna see what Argasto thinks and kind of say. I mean, that was kind of an event, or aren't you worried at all? Have Bellin and Ludo reported anything to you?
You say this to Argasto?
Yeah.
Yeah, Argasto looks kind of flabbergasted. He doesn't know what you're talking about, but he does give a follow-up question. He points to the body of the elf. He says, "What in the name of heaven is that?"
It's when we were searching for wood, Ludo and Bellin seemed to have been attacked, and in defense, we ended up killing a hunger wolf that ended up being this elf.
He quickly looks around, scans the forest, scratches his head nervously. Says, "Elves. Elves are bad news. We should hurry to Yandarvos. We'll be safe in the city of the Queen," as he continues scanning the woods for any more elves that might come.
What's wrong with elves, guy?
Says
What was that?
they're bad news. They're never here with good intentions. I've not seen them in the Titans before. At this point, Barlatum, the wizard, has come, and as long as no one has an objection, he'll begin carefully studying the elf's body.
I don't know. I don't have any objections.
Does she bear? Yeah, does she bear wound in the same spot as the direwolf?
Yeah. She's she looks. Yeah, the wounds on her body correspond with the wounds that of the direwolf. Yeah, except that their size fits her body now.
Yep.
The wizard Bartolome, he plays with his beard. Brings the brim of his wizard cap down again. You notice he doesn't like to show his face when he talks. Says, "You say this thing, this elf, was in the form of a hunger wolf."
That's as far as I saw. We didn't know it was an elf until it was dead.
He says, "Must be some sort of elven witchcraft. Have I told you about my own tradition, the Order of Wizardry? It's a more refined version of the primitive practices of wizards, but another time." He continues studying, and he points to the Iron Band. So that's the symbol of the Iron Pact. She was hunting someone specific. Must have tracked them a long ways.
I don't necessarily want to be. Well, maybe I do want to be pointing fingers, but it seems fairly obvious that Bellin and Ludo are the ones being hunted. Should we as a caravan question them more thoroughly, or try to make them see what they have?
Argesta turns to Bellin and Ludo, and he says, "What have you done to anger the elves?" They both give incredibly innocent expressions, almost harmed that they have been accused. And Bellin speaks out, and he says, "There were lots of us out there. We don't know they were coming after us. They just happened to find us first in the woods." And Ludo just nods. He goes, "Yeah, there were a lot of us. Remember, we were near each other because of the bandits. They probably weren't after us. They were probably after someone else." And they both just both sort of nod at each other.
Enough with your lies. Speak the truth.
All right. With the pressure upon them, there won't even be a roll. Bellin clams up. He refuses to really say anything, but Ludo says, "All right. Here's the thing. We didn't do anything wrong. There's really no reason the elves should be after us. But before we came down here, we had an expedition into Davokar. It was a little deeper than we would usually go. Another expedition had said to have found a ruin. We wanted to explore it, or I should say, our employers wanted to explore it. We were paid a very good fee to head up there. When we came back, after having done nothing wrong and found nothing, just an empty ruin that had clearly already been looted, members of our expedition began dying mysteriously, one by one. We didn't know it was the elves. We thought it was some sort of a curse or rival treasure hunters. We didn't know. We just knew we needed to get out of there, so we came down here. We knew we could get steady work with Ergasto. That's it. I don't know. I don't know what else.
Who was your employer for this excursion?
He was just some wealthy treasure hunter way up north. He had a small group with him. He'd hired a lot of people for the expedition. We were just some of who he'd hired. And he'll give you a name too. I kind of forget the name, but he gives you a name. In fact, those of you that are talking to him, make a -3 vigilant check. All right. Yeah. You all believe him, save for one of you, and almost feel sympathetic towards him. But the crafty ogre, you can tell he is hoping to end this line of questioning quickly, with this plausible story, and you think the reason is there's perhaps a tiny detail he is omitting that he's hoping he won't have to get to. During this questioning.
I want to look to the wizard and say, does this story make sense? Would the cell of this order chase someone just for finding an empty room?
He sort of shakes his head in uncertainty, and he says, They will kill those who venture too deep into the forest. That is part of the Iron Pact, especially those who explore ruins. Usually, they don't go through great efforts to track people unless something's been taken. I can't say for sure, but to track them this far down to the Titans when almost everyone else in the expedition's been killed, whatever they did must have really offended the elves.
And Rejo rumbles behind you and says, "Wizard smart. Rejo sees small man afraid, small man lies. It's clear."
So, well, you stand in the judgment of the light of Prios. Speak.
All right. I'll have either Rhaegor or Father Ansel persuasive. I'll give you a +5 bonus against Lugo.
Oh,
Go
I
for it.
automatically succeed. Well, unless I roll one.
Unless you roll one. All right. He says, well, all right. He says, we didn't take anything. We just guided them there. But my boss, the explorer, and some of his friends, there was a tomb, an ancient king of Symbaroum, or so we assumed, based on the crypt. Everything on him had rotted off, armor tarnished, his sword to rust, but he had a crown upon his head, further cementing the idea that he was royalty, made of copper, preserved amazingly. The others in the expedition, they were disappointed that we hadn't found any treasure, so they immediately went for the crown. It was kind of strange. This corpse's head, I guess maybe it was mummified, maybe it was the atmosphere. It wasn't decayed quite as much as you would expect. There was still a lot of flesh intact, and the crown, and he kind of shivers when he says this. It couldn't come off. They couldn't remove it. They had to take the head as well. But I didn't touch the damn thing. I did not touch the damn thing once. If there was any blight to be had by it, it's not on me. And I was against it. I said, stay away from it. Don't decapitate an old king in a tomb. I told them this, so there's no reason the elves should be coming after me. They've already got all the people that are responsible.
Well, what happened to the crown? What happened to the head?
Says I don't know. Our employer took it. I assumed he sold it. We had parted ways. It was only through contacts of ours that we realized our expedition members were being killed off slowly. If we didn't have such a network of contacts, we would never have even known they were being killed off. We would have probably died too. But I mean, what do you do with treasure like that? You sell it. I don't know.
Well, even though you guys didn't touch it, maybe this was some particularly important artifact for the elves. They might be searching to you to be able to get back to your employer.
As you guys are, as you're having that exchange, Lestra finally speaks up. He says, "The blight is upon them, both of them, Ludo and Bellin. I saw it some time ago. I've been watching them. Maybe you didn't touch the crown, but you were corrupted in that place." And he looks to the rest of you. "We should take them to the monastery of the Twilight Friars. Their conditions can be treated there."
Is it on the way?
It's not on the way, but it's past the end of our journey. I'm happy to take them there myself once we part ways.
Is it even safe for us to have to keep them with us in this caravan? Will the elves attack again?
Lester says, "I don't know. Is it possible that one dedicated elf took it upon themselves to travel this far south? I don't know. I know if it were me, I would take companions with me, but who's to say? If there's more elves, why have they not attacked? Why weren't they there?"
Looks like to me... Rajor is just going to say, odd, strange. These two were alone in woods. Elf attack when they're alone.
Lester says, "Well, no matter what they've done in Devakar, I don't believe we have any obligation to honor the Iron Pact. It was made by different people in a different kingdom, not our ancestors. I think that Bellin and Ludo, they should be protected and they should be treated. That's my opinion. It would be blasphemous to simply hand them over to the elves. The elves have no interest in treating them or even studying the blight. They'll just kill them. Senseless waste, in my opinion. You can see Argasto. He's not saying anything, but he's just got this look on his face of like how many things can go wrong on this journey, and he's constantly, even as the sun is starting to set, he's constantly scanning the woods, his eyes darting back and forth, looking for an army of elves
and bandits, elven bandits, undead
Right.
elven bandits.
Yeah, we also have the whoever was after the Sunstone possibly out there as well.
Yeah, the only security you feel right now is the elves or the elves. The wagons have been pulled into a circle with some. Oh my God! When you sharpen the stick into a spike and put it in the ground? There's a name for that type of barricade, and I cannot think of the word. But you know what I'm talking about. Some barricades are set up, so you're in a little defensive position right now, mainly for bandits. But yeah, Ludo continues to plea, like, I didn't do anything wrong. Bellin just looks pissed off. He never says anything. He won't really participate, even if someone tries to get something out of him. But and at this point, the caravan members are all talking amongst themselves, sort of wild theories about, are the elves coming? Maybe we should just leave them in the forest. Gets brought up a few times. Or they're pathfinders. They can find their way back. They'll be fine. That gets brought up a few times. As you're talking, Telik, who is perched atop one of the wagons, he screams out loud enough, in an unusually loud voice for Telik, the very quiet man, but he cries out, "Elves! I think it's elves!" And he's frantically pointing to the north. At this point, some people duck, some people move to the front. Argasto steps up on the wagon and looks. Those of you that want to step up and take a look out too, as the sun is sort of setting, there's just enough light, but you can clearly see two figures walking through the snow. Their movements are not that of human beings. They're that of elves, based on their approach. They are clearly armed, weapons not in hand, but they are armed. Everyone gives each other nervous looks. People get swords and bows in their hands. And from a great distance, in a booming voice that carries much further than it should be able to, as if by magic, one of the elves speaks. And with that, I'm gonna order a restroom break. Yeah, I think that's a good time for that. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes, everybody.
Yeah, me too.
with the elves or do we sympathize with the humans?
All right,
Yeah.
I'm back. I also made myself a sandwich.
And Zeus, he said he's having connection issues and he's resetting his router.
All right, give him a minute there.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to. I mean, we'll have to either decide to give him up or get ready to fight elves. I mean,
Are the elves kind of the bad guy?
That really depends on your point of view.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Well,
okay, from the human point of view, yeah, they're the bad guys. In the greater picture, who's to say?
and some of us aren't even humans.
So out of game, your characters wouldn't really be aware of this, but the elves believe that there is something that. So basically, the forest grew out of all this corruption and swallowed the old kingdom. The elves believe that there is something sleeping inside of the forest, and they believe that if it's disturbed too much or too often, the sleeping thing will awake, and the forest of Davakar will just take over everything. So that's why the Iron Pact was originally made.
And the barbarians also, they are live in the forest, but they don't go around poking in the ruins. At least not usually.
Right, yeah, there's a bunch of barbarian settlements at the south part of the forest, and yeah, the elves are cool with them as long as they don't venture north.
I mean, another thing to think about with these elves, well, are they more worried about just people taking things, or are they also upset when, like, say, when we killed that elf that was attacking us? Like, will they take that as big of a slight, or is it because it's almost like a spiritual kind of thing of them trying to stop this thing? They might not necessarily be as worried about that.
That probably depends on the individual elves. Oh, Zeus is back. We gotta stop talking about him.
Fucking mess. Fucking shit.
Alright, we're not going to burn the changeling. Okay, no worries, everything's fine.
We were just talking about how much Texas sucks.
It's not my favorite place to be at.
Well, you don't like the rednecks and guns?
What?
And pasta graces?
Zeus, you're from like southern Texas, right?
Yep.
My mom lives in the Houston area, more on the south side near Galveston.
To be fair, I've only ever been in airports in Texas, but anyways.
I mean, weirdly enough, I live like super close to your mom.
Oh,
Talk shit to me. I dare you.
I thought your mom joke was coming for a second, but he was being serious. I was like, he's going right for it. All right. Anyways,
I'm not that mean. I'm not that mean.
you gotta get to know someone a little bit first.
yeah. I think a well placed mom joke can be pretty funny as long as you're
All right, quick.
all fun.
A quick side tangent, really quick. When I was working a while ago at the casino, I'm on a dice table. There's a supervisor with me. I've never worked with him before in my life. If you're not familiar with craps, the dealers stand and there's a supervisor that sits at the table and watches everything. But we had a really like kind of asshole player go broke and leave, and I said to the rest of the crew, I was like, "Well, that was satisfying." And the supervisor who I'd never worked with before, he's like, "Yeah, that's what your mom told me last night." And then there was like 2 seconds of silence, and he's like, "I don't really know you that well to be making those jokes." He's like, "My name's Dave." I'm like, "I'm Steve." And he's like the best guy to work, like the best supervisor to have at your table. Everyone likes him. But yeah, I just remember that. Like as soon as he said it, he was like, "Oh shit, I don't know who this guy is," and I just said that to him. But anyways.
It was the perfect opportunity,
It was.
Oddly enough, we don't have your mama jogs here in this part of the world, and it's a shame.
All
I
right,
feel like
so
they've fallen out of style recently.
This was someone being more mean to me. It didn't bother me at all. I actually thought it was hilarious. I was like playing a game with some of my friends. It was like I'm not really into them, but it was a MOBA because I was playing it with friends. But I'm not very good at the game, and one of the people on our team was upset at me because I wasn't a rando because I wasn't playing well enough. And at that he kept saying things like you're not doing this, and after the match ended, I was like, well, if you're not having, it's a game, if you want to have fun or have good luck having fun, he says, I'll have fun doing your mom. And I was just like, oh, okay. That's what you could come up with.
but all right, we got everyone right.
Yep.
All right. I should not have chosen peanut butter sandwiches as my snack. It's hard to talk after I take a bite. All right, yeah. The elf that does the talking in a booming voice that even though they're far away, you can hear them all throughout your little encampment. He just screams out, "We want the ones called Bellin and Ludo," and he falls silent, and they just sort of stare. Argasto looks at the four of you. Says, "What do you think? Have any of you ever dealt with elves before? I've not personally."
Other than the one we just killed, no, not particularly.
I think we should talk to them.
Rachel actually leaves for a moment and goes towards one of the wagons when they first appear. So probably he's going to appear a little bit later, and he's carrying the body of the dead elf with him.
All right.
I kind of know elves. They sold me off when I was younger because I was built different. But I could possibly talk to them, see what's up.
All right. If you want to, you can shout to them from the encampment. You don't have to leave the safety of the wagons if you don't want.
Rachel says, I don't know about but Bell and Ludo, I give them back their own. Rachel not afraid. And he looks at you, and he takes a few steps towards the elves.
We're coming out to meet you.
Yeah.
Argasto will sort of scream out to the elves, "Why do you want them?" as you guys are heading out. The elf that does the speaking says, "They have violated the treaties. They've tunneled too deep into the soil of old Davakor. They are blight-stricken. They must be purged." At this point, lots of murmurs are going on inside of the camp. Lester calls out to you. He says, "Be careful not to wander too far. There could be others lying in ambush."
Yeah, that's what
They
I was.
probably are.
Because I was almost gonna think it's like, since obviously, since the pass is treacherous, I'm assuming it's a lot easier to go in a caravan. What is like, if we actually got into a battle with the elves, is there a chance that enough of the caravan could die that it would greatly impede our future progress?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you took a lot of casualties, you would have to leave a bunch of wagons behind. Yeah, it would be bad to suffer a lot of casualties. But anyways, those of you that are leaving the encampment, how close to the elves? Do you want to like walk right up to them, or sort of meet them at or get like halfway distance?
Halfway seems prudent, so that's what Rager will do. At least he's going to go halfway and just leave the body there. in front of him and stare at the elves.
All right. As you approach, the two elves that are there, they start. The one that wasn't talking begins whispering to the one who was. You don't know much. You don't know a lot about Elven body language, but they're clearly having a very brief but heated exchange. There's a disagreement between them. It actually gets kind of loud at one point. You can overhear it a little bit. Unfortunately, the language of the elves, unless you are an adept at lore master, there's no chance of knowing what it is that what they're talking about amongst themselves. The one that was doing the talking before, he speaks up as you approach. He says, "My name is Godre. My quiet friend here, Saran Ree. I will have the two we named. Blood will flow if you refuse. We will return at sunrise." And they can clearly see the elven body that you are holding, but they don't acknowledge it.
Yeah,
So did all four of us walk out?
Yeah, sounds like it. With the rest of the camp kind of watching you from behind.
Say, I'm Ansel. This is Rajor. Damn it, Nino and Fenya.
All right.
Are you willing to speak with us?
He stares at you silently. Tense moments pass as he considers. He says, "I will leave you and your people to discuss our ultimatum. We return at sunrise." And with that, they both turn around and walk away. If you say anything else to them, they ignore you and walk towards the forest very calmly. They don't appear to be afraid of you or the caravan at all. You don't know, that could just be typical elf temperament. But the perception that you have them so outnumbered does make you nervous at how confident they are.
Well, Rachel will look at Father Ansel, at Fenya and Nina, and they just shrug, like two mountains coming together, and just say, well, I'll just leave that one here. Maybe they'll take her. But
I would say we should take it back. If they're not particularly interested in it, we still might be able to get something for the body from the Templars eventually.
I think that when I brought the body, these guys actually started arguing with each other. So I don't know what that was about, but I think that probably. And he just sighs and looks at Fenya. If somebody was killed one of your goblins and just dragging around the body back and forth.
Yeah, that might have pissed him off.
Nah, doesn't sound good, man.
Well, I don't think any of our options right now sound too good. If unless we're planning on giving up Velen and Ludo, it seems like we're gonna have a confrontation with them regardless. If you just want to leave the body there, that's fine. We probably either need to decide with our Gasto what to do with them, or if we want to put the blame on someone else, we can let the caravan hold it to a vote. giving up Bellin and Ludo, because I don't know.
I suppose it's a matter of can we make it? Can we make this journey without them? If we can't, we have to fight.
Let's just give them up.
Yeah, when you guys make it back to the encampment, it's clear that everyone could hear everything the elves said. There's already a fierce debate going to hand them over to the elves or not. Not to your surprise, Bellin and Ludo are extremely opposed to being extradited. Ludo is very loudly exclaiming how horrible it would be to turn them over. Bellin just sort of mutters it under his breath. He looks like he either doesn't care or is perhaps resigned to his fate. Most of the caravan is in favor of giving them up. As Telk puts it, he says, "This is terrible, but it's better them than me. It's better to lose 2 than the entire caravan." Argasto is still considering it. Lestra, however, is very, very opposed to turning them over. He says the right thing to do: take them back to the Twilight Friars on the northern slopes of the Titans. A member of our order can care for them if they are sick.
They spoke of an ancient oath or treaty. Does anyone know anything about that?
Yeah, the wizard will speak up. The Iron Pact. They know what these 2 did. They won't stop until they're dead.
Do you know anything of the pact specifics? Is there anything we could appeal with it or bargain with it?
I've never heard of the elves making deals regarding the pact. It's very straightforward. You go too far into the forest, you take something you shouldn't, it is a death sentence. I have never heard of elven mercy.
Well, if they were not the ones that took it, then it would not apply, right?
He says, well, I suppose that would be up to the elves. It's very likely that the mere act of going into that ruin in Old Devakar sealed their fates as far as the elves were concerned. And
So are you thinking, Father Ansel, that we could try to make a plea to the elves that these 2 don't deserve the punishment from them?
Yeah, and that we have a way to remove the blight.
Well, we don't know if that Lestro has just said that they'll try to.
I assume they've had past success, or they wouldn't. Am I wrong?
So it is possible to remove blight. You suspect that the Twilight Friars of the Masonry, the Monastery of the Twilight Friars. Is what I'm trying to say. You suspect that if Bellin and Ludo are far gone enough, they're probably more likely to be studied than treated.
Yeah, that's what I also almost... Lester is saying, oh, this is the right thing to do, this is the right thing to do, almost like to help Ludo and Bellin, but if they just end up becoming guinea pigs, I don't know how, it might be better for them in the end to let the elves give them a quick death.
After hearing that, Lester will speak up. He says, not only would it be wrong and blasphemous to turn them over to the elves, even if we could negotiate something with the elves, it wouldn't be safe to let them return alive. Tell them about this entire caravan. Tell them about the people who helped Bellin and Ludo. These elves need to be killed. They're far enough from their homeland. I don't think they'll have any support. Perhaps if we kill this band of elves, that will end the hunt.
Hey guys, I have a. What if I transform as an elf and pretend to be one of them, and tell them that like their mission's done. Like the higher ups say, nah, they're good.
Well, can you speak? What if they start speaking in Elvish to you?
I'm like halfway positive I can speak in Elvish, but
Well, then wouldn't he have maybe been able to hear some of what the two were talking about before?
So unless I am mistaken, I don't think goblins automatically can speak to us. Let me check.
Changelings?
No, we're talking about Nino.
Changeling. Sorry.
my backstory I would be able to, but I don't know.
It's usually the abducted humans that do it from the other book. Because they were held by the elves.
What's your character's backstory again? There's this.
I was like sold away as a child because like I don't know why, but like my parents didn't want me. My parents were Elvish.
All right, I would say this. You could probably get by. You could probably say some words. Probably, though, in a way that it would be obvious that you are not fluent with the speech. You could probably communicate, but it would be obvious to them that you are not a native speaker of said language.
Maybe we could try to bluff them and say that you killed them already.
They can ask for the bodies.
We burned them.
Oh, but what bodies are we gonna use?
Lester speaks up. He says, yes, we'll insist that we burn the bodies, and if they don't believe it, they can die.
Rajor closes into Father Ansel and says, "This one is very quick to talk about what is right and what is just. And for me, he looks like very focused on his own interest. He wanted to get weird with the body of the elves, then he wants to get these guys probably for the same thing, and he wants everybody else to risk the life of so many people only for these two, who are, for all intents and purposes, grave robbers, and I don't know."
I agree with you, but my main... Can we survive without them? Will we be able to find the way?
Yeah, if we ask Argasto, has he been able to run this caravan enough that we can get through without their knowledge and expertise?
He nods reluctantly. Says, "We could make it without them."
What if I know this may sound particularly cruel, but maybe we can ask the elves to allow us to keep the Pathfinders till we're out of danger of the snows and turn them over at the end of our caravan journey. Just have them give us a little more time.
Guys, this is let's just kill him. Let's just kill him. I'm cold. I need to figure out why my parents abandoned me. All right, we need to get shit done.
Well, Argasto, it seems like we've come to some sort of I don't know if a consensus is right. Is Lestro going to do anything to stand in the caravan's way if it decides to turn him over?
Lestra will go on and on, preaching, especially to Father Ansel. He'll say, Prios, the one, the giver of laws, he wants the corrupted brought to Ambria, where my brothers and sisters can care for them. And if they can't be cared for, we still can't hand them over. They should be studied. The horrors of Davokar, they must be understood, or we'd never hope to fight them. You can tell that Lestra is vehemently opposed to handing them over. You don't get the sense, though, that a fight will break out. If he is outvoted, you imagine he'll reluctantly go along with it.
I mean, with Lestra's complaining, I'm just gonna kind of say, well, what do you have to bring to make us feel, what expertise do you have to make us this, band of caravan, most of whom are probably just not particularly fighters? What makes you think we'd have success in fighting back these elves?
He says it's only 2 elves. There are many of us.
I mean, why do you assume it's just 2 elves? We thought it was 1 before. I don't think they would come out in the open unless they might even have elves surrounding us right now and hidden in the forest.
So no, that is nonsense. If they wish to intimidate us and they had superior numbers, they would have shown us. They would have shown us their superior strength so that we couldn't have this conversation. That's why they didn't. It's only the 2 of them. They want us to think that there's more waiting in ambush. There were 3 in total. Now there's 2. We know how easily they can be brought down. We saw that before. And besides, we have Prios on our side. He'll protect us in the cold.
I'm not so certain of this. Not of Prios' protection, of course, but I believe their numbers may be greater.
Well, I could always transform into an elf and then walk just next to them, and if they act weird, like they don't know, if they act normal, if I'm next to them, they probably have more people around, right? If they act weird, they probably don't.
It seems like a reasonable.
Argesto finally speaks up. At this point, the crowd of the caravan, they're about 50-50. They were mostly in favor of giving them up. Telk is still very much in favor of giving them up. But Lestra has swayed a lot of their opinions. Argesto asks the 4 of you. He says, whatever we're going to do, I'd like a decision to be made before the elves come back tomorrow. What is your opinion on the matter?
Fenya's just gonna say I'm for giving him up to unless anyone has a plan that they'd like to try. I'm given to, once they return in the morning, to send them on their way and let us not be held up any longer. Because if we don't give them up, we're going to have to prepare the camp for some sort of battle, and even if we get into that battle, I'm sure it'll delay us some time. And I thought and I'm going to turn to Argasso and say, I thought the whole thing is that we needed to move quickly. I mean, even losing the Sunstone, it seemed like that was, as little time as that was gone. Wouldn't this detour be much longer?
He nods and says, yes, it would be unfortunate to have to stop and have a conflict with the elves. He looks at the rest of you. Says, do you all feel this way? That we should turn them over?
I would rather not. I disagree with my monastery friend on Prios' will in this matter. I think we should wait for. I think we should wait for a scouting report from Nino before we make a decision. I'm willing to fight if it comes down to it. I won't consign innocent, well, semi-innocent men to death.
He says,
Yeah, I don't know what if they're innocent. I mean, they wouldn't even. They kind of jeopardize the entire caravan by not being forthcoming and being particularly close-lipped. Not, you know. I would almost state that they've put their own well-being above that of everyone else.
Argasto will ask Nino. Says, "Do you think you can find the elven camp tonight?"
Yeah, of course.
He thinks on it for a moment. Says, "If Bellin and Ludo are to be lost anyway, I would hate to risk you as well. But if you want to volunteer for it, you're welcome to seek out the elves. See how many of them you can spot."
Yeah, and I as Fednia will speak up and say, I'm not again. I'm merely trying to weigh options. If Nino is able to scout and find that the elves are not large in number, that we might even be able to ambush them and surprise them. I'm not against fighting the elves. I would just rather it be more. I would like things to be stacked in our favor. You know, I wouldn't want to fight unless we knew for sure that we could strike first or knew their numbers.
If we determine their number too many, we should probably. Damn it, we should probably. Oh my god, Discord's driving me crazy right now. I can't get my push to talk to stay down.
Father Ansel appears to be having a seizure.
If there's too many, I don't think we should fight.
Well, I know what it's like being given up, and I would rather not give up these men.
Well, Nino, then it's if you'd like to volunteer for this scouting mission. I don't necessarily know what we could do to help if you're planning on trying to disguise yourself as an elf. I think most of the rest of us would stand out.
It would have to be solo.
I'll figure it out. We'll see when the time comes. The time comes.
The time is now.
Yeah, we only have until morning.
All right.
Okay.
Augusto says, "If you can find the elven encampment, come back here. Wake me. I'm going to try to get sleep, but we'll make the decision tonight one way or another." He then looks to the three of you. "A watch should be kept tonight. I think the three of you should stand first watch and keep an eye on Bellin and Ludo. If they try to make their own in the forest, they might doom them and us."
Yeah. Understood.
Sounds good.
All right, Zeus. So you're going to try and track down the elves?
I am.
All right. Heading out to where the elves appeared. There are tracks that are followable. Followable? Is that a word? Anyways, there are tracks that you can follow. I'm going to have you make a +1 vigilant check.
You know, my backup plan was kind of to say they ran away anyway, so.
It's not discreet.
This you have to track the elves before you can hide from them.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
So you guys don't know where they are. They just disappeared into the forest.
Oh, can I push? You can't push in this game.
This is not
Yeah.
not a free league game. You search the area in the tree line where they go. You don't know if they covered their tracks intentionally or have some magical ability to do so, but you lose the track very, very quickly. In fact, you are hardly out of eyesight of the encampment before you're just sort of scratching your head as the tracks vanish in the snow. Perhaps they can turn into birds.
Damn. So I can't try again, right?
You cannot. The path is lost.
Hmm. Would it make sense to my backstory for me to do this? No. Yeah, I'll go back.
All right.
Start wandering around, calling out, "Hey, elves! Elves, are you there?"
You know what? Yeah, can I do that?
Just start,
Can I like yell? Can I yell in an elvish tone? Like, hey, yo, I need to talk.
yeah. You can shout for them to.
Hey, elf bros, where you at?
Oh, I'm making myself look elvish too. If I can do that.
Go ahead and make a. What is the check you have to make to shape change?
It's like resolute.
Go ahead and make a
Is it
resolute.
resolute?
I think it might be. I think it is.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
usually resolute.
We'll see if it even works for the scene. All right, you make yourself appear as an elf. You call out into the woods, asking for them to talk to you, but you never receive any response. In fact, the rest of you, the rest of you watch Nino walk to the tree line, turn into an elf, and be like, "Hey, where are you?"
I come back. My expert tracking technique didn't work, guys.
Like it didn't work.
These guys are good at what they do.
He comes back after shouting into the forest. It's like it didn't work.
Well,
Rachel places his big meaty palm on Nino's shoulder and says, "Don't worry. The trees were very impressed. Yes. Let's go back."
Thanks, Dad.
so now we either can let them go, or I did just think of one idea. Possibly, if people are really wanting to try to have some chance of saving the Pathfinders, we could offer Bellin or Ludo, since they're supposed to be master Pathfinders, we could have one of them try to see if they can find the trail better than Nino can, and lead him, and then have him sneak. But we'd have to be particularly careful, and we don't even know if they'd want to do that, or if it's worth it.
Well, it's potentially in their interest.
Yeah, I mean, because if we're gonna turn them over anyways, basically, if we don't get any more information.
All right. Do you guys want to wake up Argasto or just let him sleep through the night?
Do we have anything to tell him?
That's a good question.
Yeah, what do we have a consensus here about what we're gonna do even?
Okay, how many are actually to give them away?
I mean, I'm basically fully for giving them away. It seems like it's getting particularly risky, and we might either lose one of them in the forest, and who knows what the elves would do to us then if we can't turn them over, and it seems pretty risky right now.
I don't want to give them away.
Okay.
Tiebreaker vote is Nina.
Yeah.
What was Rager's point of view?
I think he's for giving them up.
Yeah, that's what I got.
I think we already know Nino. He sounds like he wants to kill him.
Just kill him, dude. Just kill him.
The elves.
The elves.
Huh.
Oh, I thought you meant the two guys.
Oh no! This is kill the elves.
Okay,
Fuck
so
'em.
we are two on two.
Jesus Christ! Oh, no, let's give him up. Let's give him up. Sorry, Father. It's taking way too long. I'm cold. My balls are practically inside me at this point.
Very well.
Well, then let's wake up Argasto and say it may not have been a 100% a unanimous consensus, but it seems that we want to give him up in the morning.
All right, yeah, Augusto will leave his he'll leave his wagon to talk to you, and you can tell he's a little bit saddened by the idea of giving up caravan members to the elves, but he nods. He says, "It is for the best. There's a lot more people to think about. In the end, Bellin and Ludo, they knew the risks going into Davicor. This is something that can happen. There's no reason we should all have to pay for it." Ergasto doesn't make any attempt to hide this from Bellin and Ludo. He goes over to them and just very matter-of-factly explains to them that they are going to be turned over and why. Again, no attempt of deception on his part. He just says, "I'm sorry, but we have to think of everyone else." Ludo pleads and screams and argues. Bellin never says anything. He just sort of looks at the ground. Argasto goes back into his tent. And he says, "Continue first watch. Make sure Bell and Ludo don't try to go anywhere. I'll get some people to relieve you in a few hours so that you can sleep."
Okay.
Sounds good.
Now, guys, one last option. We pretend we're giving them up, and then we stab them.
Well, but if there's only the two representatives, and that's out in the open, we stab them, and then all of a sudden, ambush comes in. We've put ourselves in a bad place.
Well, what? If we die, you can get reborn as like a goblin that's going to an island for treasure. It could be fun. No, that's okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair thinking.
As you guys are talking, Bellin gets to his feet. Ludo gets to his feet.
Yeah.
Bellin very calmly takes the axe off of his belt. Ludo, sort of following suit, takes the axe off of his. Ludo is quite nervous. Bellin says, "We're not corrupted. We can't let you turn us over. Let us just go into the woods. We'll fend for it ourselves. If the elves are as good at trackers as they say, they'll go after us there." And Ludo goes, yeah, let us go and they'll leave you guys alone."
That sounds suspicious. I mean, if the elves came to us out in the open and they said that they didn't necessarily leave much interpretation. They just said that they were looking for you guys and for us to give them up. If you run, what will stop the elves from I don't know, attacking us or not believing us? I don't really know.
Bellin grips his axe with both hands. And he says, "If I'm to die, I'm gonna die fighting my way out of this camp." Ludo looks at him as if that was not a plan they discussed, and he looks very nervous and holds his axe in a defensive manner.
Yeah, there is a huge ogre in front of them holding a big log and just looking down at them and says,
Bellin says, "I'm not corrupted. I feel fine." And just as he says that, he lets out a weird grunt, as if he has just come under some sort of stabbing pain. Before your eyes, he drops his axe in the snow. He tries to scream, but a gurgling sound comes out instead. You see blood pour out of his mouth, his eyes, and his ears. The color drains from his face. He very violently convulses in front of you, spatting blood in the snow in front of you before collapsing, motionless and dead in front of you. Ludo collapses in the snow, behind him, just terrifying. You can see that Bellin is not breathing. You have no idea what could have possibly caused this. Perhaps he was poisoned, but it was a very violent death. And Ludo goes, see, maybe he was corrupted, but look at me. Look, I'm fine. I'm healthy. And you can see there's fear in Ludo's eyes, as if what happened to Bellin might happen to him.
Someone said that the elves could kill this, right?
No, they just kill them.
The elves just kill everybody that violates the treaty.
Hey, man, look, hear me out. Instead of dying that way, just let one of us stab you. Die a peaceful death, guy.
Ludo is clearly about to protest that idea when he is interrupted. You all hear a loud tearing sound. It draws your attention back to Bellin's body on the ground. You can see what is only to be described as large knife-like fingers tearing out of the flesh of Bellin. In a moment, his skin splits, and from within the corpse, a towering creature with bare muscles, no skin covering them, with its fingers transformed into the knives of bone that it used to tear its way out of the flesh of Bellin. It has outgrowths from its cranium, almost as if they were a pointy bone crown. The creature looks furious and famished, and immediately lashes out at the four of you as Ludo curls up into a ball on the ground. I'm going to go over to a map here.
Also, if I can, just gonna, since we're on watch, and I'll yell out as loud as I can. I'm ready to fight, but in case there's anyone like Argasto or Lestro or anyone else within the camp who might hear us.
Sure.
Is it bigger than Bellin?
It is. It is. Let's see here. It's a little bit taller than Bellin is. It almost seems. You almost can't figure out how this creature was alive within him, and yet it has clearly just torn itself from his flesh. I'm just gonna make a little stick figure of a bloody monster. That's it. I know that's not my best work, but I couldn't find a good token. Alright, I'm gonna bring you guys out on the map. Yeah, and you guys are just sort of standing around. This map doesn't have the grid turned on, but again, it's not technically grid combat, so I'll just have you guys standing around. You guys were here.
They were basically, at least Rager was basically in his face, so yeah.
Yeah, you could be right in front of him. That little X right there will represent... Ludo has sort of used his feet to scoot himself back before curling into a ball and covering his eyes. He has no desire to see what has just happened. And with that being said, I'm gonna throw everybody on the initiative track here.
Didn't we have a witch hunter that could detect this shit?
Yeah, and
he's sleeping.
He did. Well, yeah, and he did say that they were blight. That he knew that they had blight on them.
Alright.
Oh.
Apparently, if I draw a little stick figure of my own, it doesn't let me put it on the initiative track. I'm gonna use this horrific looking creature, even though it should. Imagine it has no skin and a bunch of exposed muscles and sinew. That is.
I don't know.
You need a token. I have a perfect guy for that.
Alright. I'll go ahead and have you guys. You know what? I did an experiment in my other game. It doesn't let people it doesn't let people see their turn order in between different maps. I don't know if that's the case here or not. That's why I keep adding you. But yeah, go ahead and put in your quickness and vigilance again. Vigilance is a 2-digit. Oops.
You put it in, and you just hit enter or just click away.
You gotta click enter. This is a quirk of Roll20 that drives me crazy. If you ever forget to hit enter and click off, it won't save whatever you put. This is when you're filling out pretty much anything.
Okay, I think every time I put a 11.11. Okay, now it works.
There you go.
I have no idea what I did different before.
Sometimes that happens to me too. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's been happening to me doing. Sometimes I've had to put mine in and pressing enter a couple times.
Yeah.
Eventually,
I
works.
just kept deleting that thing.
All right. You know what I'll do if I think about it for next game? I can create some macro buttons where you guys will just click a thing and it'll throw you up on the initiative board with that.
Yeah, since it never changes.
That'll be a
Actually, I don't know.
lot faster. We'll see. We'll see how much effort I want to put into making the macros. Anyways, yeah, Fenya, you get to act first. You may have never encountered one of these before, but you've heard stories. This is definitely a Blightborn. They take many forms, but someone who is thoroughly corrupted will eventually lose themselves and turn into something.
Could I have had someone treat me before this?
Oh, before the fight starts.
Like basically, like normal after the battle treatment.
Okay, yeah. I tell you what, we can retcon that. It makes sense that Lestra would have treated you.
Yeah, I almost brought that up. Forgot to bring that up earlier.
Yeah, I forgot.
We should get Lestro to heal Father Ansel.
Yeah, it makes sense over the course of that conversation that we can say that he healed you. So he heals a D6. Let me see. Does he have any other special healing powers? All right. He is going to heal you this many.
Woo.
And also, Ansel, it may be fine for you to stand back a little bit if you need to, and you could always watch, keep an eye on Ludo in case something similar happens to him or he tries to get away. But yeah, I'm gonna stab at the Blightborn.
All right. Yeah, this creature actually, even though he's really skinny, I should say height-wise, he's similar to the ogre. So, big, imposing creature. But go ahead and stab at him.
Is there any modifier?
Oh, his defense +2. He is easy to hit.
Nice.
Wow.
All right. Yeah, when you spear him, you notice something that the muscles, although not covered by skin and exposed, are unnaturally tough. The muscle tissue is like a thick bestial hide. It is actually difficult to get your spear in and back out, but you can see a spurting of blood from the hole that you've just created. All right, it is now.
Do enemies typically have flat armor values or random armor values like we do?
They have flat armor values.
Okay.
All right.
Basically, I should never have to roll for anything. Is the way it works with enemies. All right, let's see the Wonder Pig.
Yeah. Miss.
All right, the ogre.
Okay. Let's see if I can hit it with +2. I'm, of course, already out of my mind.
Wow.
Wait, there is more. Yeah.
All right, a mighty blow against the creature. 1 extra damage with Berserker?
Yeah.
Alright, so you did, let's see, 12, 13. You have hit its pain threshold. You may knock it prone or make an immediate follow-up attack.
I will attack it again.
Alright.
Okay, and one more time damage. Come on, don't give me a 1 here.
Nice.
So 12 total damage?
Yeah.
Can you chain that pain threshold thing?
You mean inflict it multiple times on the enemy?
Yeah, so you hit a pain threshold, you attack again, you do it again.
It's impossible to hit the pain threshold twice without killing it.
Oh,
Which means
it's dead.
yeah, it is obliterated in are you still swinging like a big chunk of wood?
So what happens is that Rager is suddenly extremely not startled. He's shocked out of his mind. He roars at it, raises the club and slams it down, and then slams it down again and again and again and again. Stay down and stay down.
All right. At this point, people are rushing out of their wagons. Argasto, well, they all look horrified. There's the hollowed out corpse of Balin, who's not recognizable at this point, and then the beast. Shortly after everybody comes out, the beast's flesh, its muscles, they immediately and unnaturally fast begin to rot right before your eyes. They decay into nothingness. Not dust like you might expect a corpse, but a strange bloody goo that gets soaked up by the earth. All that remains when the decomposition process is done is the deformed cranium of the beast.
Didn't you say it had a crown?
It's it has outgrowths from its cranium as if it was wearing a pointy crown.
And they probably got. I wonder if that has anything to do with the ruin that they went in. They stole a head with a crown on it. This is some sort of curse.
Ludo begins screaming. He's like, "I'm not sick. I barely touched the skull. I promise. Just let me go."
I'm gonna kind of ignore him and say to the others, do we know if we kill him now, would one of these beasts still emerge from his corpse?
Lestra will speak up. He'll say, "No. If he's put down now, the blight will not overtake him, but I don't think that's necessary. We could still negotiate with the elves. We could still save this one."
After what we just saw right there, I don't know if I want to take the chance of another monster coming up while we're sleeping. And if we're planning on giving them up anyways, we should probably get rid of them now.
Yeah, this event has changed my mind completely. We should kill him. It's sad, but
I know it's dirty work. I know it's dirty work, but I will offer to make it quick if no one else wants to do the deed.
Prius demands his death.
Hey, I'm gonna walk up to the guy, okay?
All right.
I'm gonna say, "Hey, man, I'm not gonna let these guys kill you, okay? We're gonna find a way to fix you, okay?"
He just
And,
quietly nods.
And look, you gotta trust me, okay? Do you trust me?
He just stares at you blankly.
And can I get advantage on stabbing him right now?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna stab him.
All right. I won't even worry about a roll here. If the goal is to end Ludo, it can be done.
Okay. Well. Okay. I was gonna stab him like 20 times. It's okay. It's okay. You trust me, right?
Two Brute?
There are mixed emotions about it in the group. Argasto seems to ultimately agree that it was the best thing to do. Lestra is outraged and goes on and on and on about the monastery and the will of Prios. In fact, Lestra is so angry by this execution. You all have a feeling in the pit of your stomach, especially Fenye, who went through Lestra's stuff, that you've just made a notable enemy amongst the Templars. That being said, you are in theory free of another blight monster popping up.
Yeah, we still need to in the morning report this to those elves so they don't continue to follow us.
We should burn the bodies.
Ranger will actually take some old tarp or whatever piece of cloth and or canvas or whatever, and just roll the two bodies and bring them up to the same, a little bit farther away from the body of the elf. He's still there, by the way.
Oh, like throw him outside the camp where the elf is?
Yeah.
Like as an offering kind of thing?
Also, I really don't want these things to be in the middle of the camp during the night.
Also fair.
I would like to burn them.
Do we have wood enough? We can actually do that. That's even smarter, and Ranger will help with that.
Yeah.
Do the elves need any proof that we actually did it? Is there any chance that they're going to say we just claimed to have killed them if we don't have any physical evidence?
Yeah, you don't know if the elves have a magic way of recognizing the corpses once they're burned or not.
Because Ludo and Bellin were already saying that they were just going to try to run away. I don't know. If you guys want to burn the body, that might be a safe thing to do. I just don't know exactly all the elves' customs and whether they are going to take that or not.
Well, maybe we can just prepare to burn them in the morning after we show them. I don't know. It's a valid point.
I don't know anything about this, but I think the corruption needs to be burned away.
Well, Father, do what you must.
Francis, burning gaze.
I'm gonna burn them. There'll still be bone chips and stuff left.
Yeah, but
You should cut off the head, Father. You should. It's just for proof, you know?
I won't leave
And
that
there's that other
sticks alive.
Or skin the face.
No.
There's not much left of the other head. It's smashed in.
yeah, I think skinning a face might be a hard thing to do.
Well, it's like skinning a pig. Have you ever skinned a pig?
I have not.
Oh.
I've skinned a face or two in my day. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, simple. It's simply torture.
I am a bit disturbed. Probably I should start
I'm
thinking.
kidding.
No, I mean, actually, as well. But Rachel is thinking probably he should send me in a different party. He starts killing people.
You're an ogre, don't you eat people for breakfast and shit?
Not necessarily.
I'm a vegetarian.
Fuck you are. You don't get that big eat grass.
How do you think that I got that big? I eat wood with the bark and the roots.
Is that canon? Is that like legit lore?
I don't think they specify the.
I don't know what it was, but I'm not sure if it was this one, but I think I read something somewhere about somebody subside they like omnivores and actually something was eating even wood if it push come to shove. But I'm not sure if it's this setting, so don't take me up on it. But basically, he's joking around. You see that he's very much actually very disturbed by everything that happened. So he's just trying to blow off some steam.
All right. So so are we burning the bodies then? Is that the plan?
Yeah.
All right. Bodies can be burnt, leaving them out where the elves can get to them. And let's see.
You said the stick guy, the bone guy with the crown. You said he dissolved, right?
Except for the head.
Yeah, I mean the old body of Balin, dissected, is still there. The beast dissolved away except for the cranium.
Does it burn?
I mean, burns as well as bone does, so it'll still pretty much be there afterwards.
Ah, good to know.
All right. By the as the morning comes, unless you had anything else you want to do tonight. As the morning comes, you see dark clouds in the sky. They move very rapidly, and blizzards start happening all around the camp, especially in front of the direction you're going. The sunstone must be activated by the wizard in order to provide you with enough warmth. One thing you realize immediately is there's no path forward through the blizzard right now. Even with the sunstone, it's so deep, and you don't have to be a magic user to recognize that this particular storm is not natural. Something has summoned it. It is specifically blizzarding in your path. And it's more violent. It came faster and more violent than anything you've ever seen. Through the blizzard, you see the silhouettes of just one of the elves. This time, the one that did the talking before. No sign of where the other elf is. But he shouts, "Give us what we want. You're free to go."
Well, what you want is that pile of ashes, right there. We ended up having to put Bellin and Ludo down, so you should have what you wanted now.
He examines the ashes and bodies for a moment. He says, "How am I to know these are the ones I seek? Not imposters."
You think we would kill two of our own? I'm going to point out the skull as well. One of them transformed into this abomination, and we slew it.
Matt, I'm gonna have you. You can go ahead and roll +5 persuasive. All right. He nods. Says, "So be it. You are free to go." He turns away from the bodies. Well, I take that back. He picks up the body of the elf. He leaves the other two. From the opposite direction of the camp, coming silently out of the woods, you see a creature. It looks like a brown bear, but much larger and unnatural in appearance. It runs alongside your camp from a moment, like I said, from the opposite direction the elf was. And its huge huge bare mouth. It actually picks up both corpses as much as it can, and takes off, following the other elf.
Wait. I'm gonna yell for the one. Wait, I have a question to ask.
They will not respond to that. They're just gonna run.
Oh, they're gonna run?
Well, the one guy's walking briskly, but the bear monster is quite fast.
Can I like catch up real quick before they leave?
You know what? I tell you what. If you want to, the blizzard actually makes it very difficult to get through. If you can make a straight up vigilant check, you can get through the blizzard for a moment to encounter them before they leave. All right, yeah, you guys see Nino go, "Oh, wait," and he runs into the blizzard. He vanishes in a wall of snow. Yeah, you see a giant bear monster, and the elf identified as Godre walking. Godre turns and looks at you. And he says, "What is it you want, Goblin?"
I'm not a goblin.
Changeling. So I keep doing that. It's because you played a goblin for like 6 months in that other game. Anyways. Changeling.
Why do y'all sell away your changelings? How are changelings made? What's wrong with me?
He says, "I'm not the one to ask about that, changeling."
Well, how am I made?
He says, "Seek your answers elsewhere. We came on a mission and the mission is complete. Return before you freeze to death."
Oh, man. I'm so close, too. All right. I gotta go back.
All right, Nino comes back covered in snow with little icicles coming off of his nose. After about an hour, the blizzard clears. Most of the snow left by it melts very, very suddenly. And as if by magic, your path is, well, it's not perfect, but it's travelable again. Argasta says, "We've not much longer to go. I suggest we move out now before something else gets in our way."
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
All right. You guys travel for another 2 days. Everybody that's wounded, go ahead and heal yourself 2 points for 2 days worth of rest. Yeah, there's 2 more days of struggles. You make it across a snowy plateau up through a long pass where you get a kind of a fantastic view of the landscape below you. You can see from here Yndaros. That is the grand capital city of Ambria. It's towering over this farmland covered these farmland covered fields. There's glittering rivers down below, patches of forest here and there. They've kind of yellow and red in color. Yeah, as you get closer to the city, even though you're far away, you can see the forest of Davicor even from the southmost point of Ambria. The trees are so massive. But let's see. And those of you that know about it probably imagine seeing the red flame of the Thistlehold's beacon, although that's probably just your imagination from here. You can see Carvasti, the plateau ruled by the witches and barbarians. Excuse me, I mean, you know where it is. You can't see it, but you know where it is as it lies deep in the woods. Same for the ruins of old Symbaroum. But yeah, after your last rest, Augusto interrupts all of your daydreams with a high-pitched order to mount up. Once all the cookware is stored away, you resume your journey to Yndaros. Yeah, despite fatigue and cold, everyone's eyes shine brightly as you approach the pinnacles of the Queen's Palace. The Promised Land awaits your arrival. You have made it successfully. Congratulations. All right, that is the end of the Promised Land adventure.
I'm gonna. Anyone that said they were gonna buy me a drink when we got in somewhere, I'm gonna hold them to it.
Of course.
I'm killing your pig.
He's like bacon.
You can't kill my. If you kill my pig, you have a chance of killing me.
Well, it's over now.
We have a spiritual bond.
He's gonna get more bacon than he thought. So if you guys enjoyed that, I can continue running this to part 2 and part 3 of the Chronicles of the Copper Crown if you want. I probably won't. In fact, I almost certainly won't run a longer campaign than that because I didn't intend to run a long campaign. But yeah, if you guys want, we can keep doing this.
Yeah, I'm still interested.
Yeah, the total the Chronicle of the Copper Crown has 3 connected adventures that tell an overarching story.
I'm down. If you don't mind, I would retire this character and maybe switch to the wizard.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
We definitely need that guy. I was just going to say something like that. We definitely need a bit more.
Also, I don't see my character really fitting in and wanting to continue doing stuff with you guys since he's really focused on his church goals based on his backstory.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my character too. I made this character a little too much like my other character, but if we're gonna continue this.
And so you can change their personalities and all that too. Now that you've got a feel for them. But yeah, man, I'll give you the stats for the wizard character by next session. I'm looking up trying to look up experience points here. Since we're going to continue, I should probably give out some sort of XP award, which I may or may not be able to find. Hey, hold on one second. All right, experience points.
We need 30.
How much do things cost in this experience-wise?
Okay, so 10 points for a novice ability.
Oh, I just saw it. 20 for... Okay. So it's pretty expensive to increase things. It's definitely a slow increase. All right, so let's see here.
So 100, 500 maybe should be fair, right?
So basically, if you need to raise something from, you start with 10, then you need 20 more to adept, and then another 30, I think, to go to master.
Okay.
So 10, 20, 30.
So 60 total to end up being a master.
Yeah. And generally, unless, if I remember correctly, about each major I think one per major scene, not if you chat around the fire, but maybe if there has been a check on the scene. I don't know.
It's if there's some sort of there's a couple of things like challenges overcome and stuff like that. So let's see. I'll just quickly summarize all this. All right, so you guys. You had to fight your way into the caravan. You successfully found yourselves that thief, got the sunstone.
Was there any way to talk them out of fighting?
The elves?
Yeah.
No, the elves are absolute with the Iron Pact. There's no middle ground. They'll kill the entire. They would have killed the entire caravan if they had to get to them. They
So
would
how bad was that bear?
pretty bad. Basically, what would have happened is the one that was talking would have engaged with a longbow, the front of the caravan with deadly accuracy, and then the bear was going to jump out of hiding. There would have been a roll to see if it ambushed you or not. The bear is. I'll show you how strong the bear is in a second. Screw it. I'm not going to tally all this up. You can all have 10 experience points, because that's about what it looks like I was going to get to anyways.
Hey.
And Matt, when I show you the wizard stats, you can just, spend 10 experience there.
Cool.
Okay, as for how strong was the bear? So the bear, as you might have guessed, was an elf. Shape changer. As a Beamin is what the creature was called, which is just a huge bear. Oops. One second.
Which version of the player's guide do you use? There's a bunch of versions.
I forgot which version I'm using. I downloaded what was like the latest update number or whatever, from
1.1 probably.
something like that. But all right, the first page of the PDF is like 2 pages, and the rest were 1 page, and it made scrolling through it a pain in the ass for me because of the way I do it. So I downloaded another version just for that. Mine, hang on a second. My PDF just says core rulebook. So I don't know, and I have an errata document as well.
There is a point in the beginning what is the rulebook, but if you want, I have 112 from the Modifius website, so I can totally share it with you.
All right, so this would have been the stats for the elf and bear form. Not crazy strong. I mean, only 3 damage per attack.
It's basically like Rager, actually.
Less dangerous than. Here, I'll go and show you. Less dangerous than the Blightborn. Check this guy out.
Yeah, we got pretty lucky with him, I think.
Well, had he gotten to attack, look at his under weapons. It tells you how much damage his attacks do.
Oh, 12/10.
And 2 attacks at the same target.
The Blightborn was crazy dangerous, but you guys got it. Now he wasn't. His defense wasn't great, but the thing with the Blightborn, on top of doing a lot of damage, you notice is accurate plus -3, meaning it would have been hard for you to get out of the way.
Check out the armor, though.
Oh, and 5 armor, so he was a brute. If you guys had decided to save Ludo, he would have turned into one of those before you got to the end of your journey.
Of course he would have.
We took him out.
See, stabbing him
Hey,
20 times
we
isn't
wouldn't have made an
fair.
enemy then.
That's true.
Or we may have been dead.
You never know here. We were very lucky because, probably one of us would have gone down at 12 damage. Especially 2 attacks. 12 and 10.
Yeah, and the game is pretty. The mechanics are pretty rough once you.
Yeah, the 12 would have killed me in 1 hit.
Yeah, once you run out of toughness, you don't have.
I only have 11.
I have 10.
I'm rolling them dice.
So basically, when your toughness reaches 0, you're considered dying. And this is how death works in this game. Every turn while you're dying, you roll a d20 on your initiative. The test is repeated until you are stabilized with an herbal cure, or the medical ability or whatever. Alternatively, when you roll a natural 1, you wake up and you're okay. When you roll a natural 20, you die. That's that. So it's just whichever comes first, a 1 or a 20, or if you get
So
healed.
it's a more brutal version of the D&D death saves.
Yeah. But it's interesting because you could also go for a really long time.
I guess not more brutal, just more unknown.
I would consider it more brutal because with D&D you can like time the action of saving someone based on their death saves.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas in this, you never every turn 5% chance of it happening. So there's more. It's like scarier to leave someone untreated in this. But yeah. But all right, yeah, I enjoyed that. For the next adventure, I might peek into the companion book a little bit. We'll see. My time is a bit more occupied now that I'm packing for a move to a new house. So we'll see. We'll see how much I get to read, but I'll at least have I'll have the adventure ready. I have not read the next adventure, so I take that back. I've read a little bit of it, so I don't really know what's going to happen. But I know the theme of the next adventure.